Hello Avinash, good evening and welcome to Guidance 2017. So how has the last 3-4 hours been for you?
Good evening. It's been good. GITEX on the first day is always about a bit of a more mellow experience. It's an opening day, and so the stand is very busy. But in terms of getting a lot of meetings in place, that usually starts happening second day onwards.
So Avinash, for the concept of VAD, from the market point of view, we have seen a lot of VADs coming to the surface, right? With the same kind of vendors, the same portfolio. So if I can ask you, what is the one differentiating factor that makes StarLink class apart from the other VADs? What would that be?
Okay, so actually, there's no one factor. Okay, so VAD stands for value added distribution, right? And so for us to be a truly value added distributor, you needed to add value across the value chain. Now, in the value chain that exists in the IT or in security or in any kind of IT sale, you have three main entities. You have the partner, you have the vendor, and you have the customer. To truly be a VAD, you have to be able to add value across the value chain to the customer, to the partner, and to the vendor. And so we developed our true VAD model based on adding value across the entire value chain. So to the vendor, we become a full extension of the vendor on the ground. To the partner, we develop a partner program that is truly helping them become autonomous. The name of the program is called the Path to Channel Autonomy. It's to help those partners become independent, certified, capable of delivering the message, bringing business to those partners, helping them become more profitable, seeing ROI, and frankly, achieving quicker time to value. And to the vendor, again, to the customer, I'm sorry, that's one of the most unique parts that we bring to the table when it comes to distribution, because most VADs don't have a direct touch model. We have a direct touch engine that has a sole purpose, which is pipeline generation for our partners. So we go to the market to evangelize, create awareness, educate the market by taking next generation best of breed vendors to market, helping them understand how they can achieve compliance, protect themselves against next generation threats, look at their cloud journey, look at their software defined data center journey, and help them understand how these technologies can help them. And through that effort, what we're essentially doing is creating pipeline for our partners. So the vendors, they achieve rapid market penetration, quicker time to value, quicker ROI. Partners get excited and incentivized because you have a distributor that's helping them develop the business. And the customer, they look at us as a trusted advisor because we never have sold them direct and never will. So knowing that we can't sell them anything, they trust us as an advisor, and simultaneously we are then building that pipeline to help the partners and vendors succeed. So, but this one key point, which is you said one that VADs, a lot of VADs have a lot of competing similar technologies. One of the key differentiators that StarLink has when it comes to its portfolio, which we call the solutions lifecycle, is that we don't have similar vendors. We do have some overlapping vendors by the nature of the fact that the bigger vendors will have a couple of distributors. But as we build out our solutions lifecycle and our story, it's fundamentally important to differentiate that story. And so when we go to market, it's not a line card, it's not a portfolio, but it's a story, right? And each part of the story has different solution areas. And as our team goes to market, we're not going with a vendor-centric view or a product-centric view. It's a solution-centric view. And even today, when you look at the kind of new next-generation vendors we're adding to the portfolio, it's very, very unique and disruptive and different than any other distributor has. You will find the bigger vendors, being similar in some cases, but we have three kinds of vendors in the portfolio. Those that are more established, those that are very emerging style, and those that are next generation growth vendors. In this space, absolutely no other VAD will have the same type of vendors because we uniquely look for those kind of vendors. In the emerging space, these are the type of vendors that look at us as their sole go-to-market because of our model. So again, other VADs won't have those vendors. It's only in that more established space where there'll be some overlap.
So to pick some words from your previous answer, preparing your customers or partners for the next gen threads,
Yeah.
or to build that awareness, and if we talk that in light of the recent attacks which happened, which we all have been talking about, be it WannaCry, Petya, Equifax,
Sure.
whatever. So like based on your experience, like in spite of all this awareness and programs which companies like you are doing, what has been that shortfall?
The shortfall typically is there's only two shortfalls. The first one, which is the majority of the problem, which is the human problem, right? Fortunately or unfortunately, in every single IT situation or breach or um, scenario where there's a security infrastructure to manage and that needs to protect the environment, there's a human involved. And that's why what you'll see as a trend now is security automation and orchestration. In fact, it's the theme of our GITEX stand this year, which is how to accelerate incident response using automation and orchestration that is based on machine learning technology. The more you can take the human out of the security problem, the more of a chance you have of securing breaches or protecting against breaches. Looking at Equifax, for example, what was the reason? A patch management issue. Simple. But why? Because a human forgot to actually take advantage of the fact that they had a patch management tool, but they didn't, let's say, manage it properly. The process wasn't managed properly due to the human error. And most other ransomware, look at ransomware. How does ransomware come into an environment? Typically, it's social engineering that finds someone who is not apt enough to understand that by clicking an email that looks wrong, they potentially will be able to download something like ransomware. And by installing it and clicking on that ransomware, you suddenly opened up the door to the hacker, right? But if you're educated and aware of the potential threat, like I said again, removing the human element, you have a much higher chance of avoiding these security breaches. The second part of it, which is much smaller, again, is just the concept of incident response, right? The hackers that exist in the world today are moving faster than the pace of technology innovation. It's always been the case, and I don't expect it to ever stop. That is always going to be the case. So the solution to the problem is thinking like an attacker, deploying proactive security, predictive security, making sure that you have the proper automation, orchestration tools in place that help you, combat the threat at the same pace at which it's coming at you. And once you've got both of these together, you then have more of a chance of defending against these kind of threats.
So, like, do the customers prevent a threat or prepare for a threat?
Both. I mean, first you have to prepare, right? So, they say they've got this term in the industry today called EDR, right? Endpoint detection and response, right? But actually, it's more than that. It's detection, prevention, and response. So your ability to detect is fundamentally important. You've got to be able to detect. The second aspect of it is you've got to be able to prevent something that's 0 day, brand new, that you are unable to detect because it's not possible to detect something that just came out today, right? And then from a response perspective, everyone is going to have to respond at some point because, we know this now. It's not a question of if you're going to get breached. You will get breached, right? But the people that don't become a statistic are the guys who are able to respond quickly. The guys who are able to, automate, orchestrate, use the right incident response playbooks that have security operation centers, that have people whose job it is to understand when a threat comes in, how it comes in, where it comes in from, and then put it all together, correlate, and take action. That last process has to be really quick if you don't want to lose your reputation like what happened with Equifax or Sony, all the big guys. Big impacts on their reputation and, of course, financial issues as well.
So, StarLink is like on board 12 cross-section partners, right?
Yeah,
For your vendors
at GITEX.
at Tritex,
Yeah.
right? So, what is the combined strength that they are bringing to your portfolio as a whole?
It's a good question. So look, our portfolio is not only 12 vendors, right? We have about 30 vendors in the portfolio. So every year at GITEX, we work with 12 who participate with us at the show. It's a combination of first come, first served, along with the theme that we're trying to build for that year. So it's a collaborative effort that we work with the vendors. And this year we knew our theme in advance was going to be around incident response, orchestration, automation. And so we wanted to build the story around that. And so as we reached out to the vendors, all of them, um, there is sort of a first come first serve type scenario, but also a strategic approach where we make sure that the message has to align with all participating vendors. And that is exactly the case today. All of these 12 vendors in some way contribute to this theme in a different way, right? They're all different vendors. Some are at the security operations center level, some are at the data center level, some are at the endpoint level, some are a combination and are more of a platform. But in all cases, they have a big part or a significant part to play in this story.
And if we talk about your SDDC, okay, so
Hmm.
what new things can customers, expect from that?
Great. So SDDC stands for Software Defined Data Center, right? And actually, what we launched this year at GITEX was our SDDC technology architecture, right? And every year at GITEX, we tend to launch some new tool that will help partners sell more, that will help customers become more aware, and that will allow us, to maintain our reputation as a trusted advisor. And this year, the SDDC technology architecture was formulated because, keeping your finger on the pulse of technology also means understanding what the trends are in the industry. And what you'll see today is that everyone is on a journey of cloud and software-defined everything. And the data center is a fundamental part of software-defined everything, right? I mean, traditionally in a data center, people were looking at, let's say, virtualization of compute infrastructure. So you'd have typical virtualized servers and so on and so forth. But today with the software-defined data center, it's much more than just virtualization. You have virtualization of storage, virtualization of security, virtualization of compute still obviously. And so all the different services are now capable of being virtualized. And so as you go down this SDDC journey, you've got to make sure that you secure that entire journey, all the way from the basic infrastructure of storage up to your actual cloud. And the technology, SDDC technology architecture is meant to visualize this block that exists in terms of what the different components are of SDDC, and then the fact that you need to make sure that you have visibility into the entire SDDC and secure it from what I said before, right? Detect, prevent, and respond to threats across the SDDC. So it's not really let's call it a solution to a problem, but it's a understanding of where people's mindset needs to be as they look at the SDDC journey.
One last question.
Sure.
Okay, so the theme of GITEX is reimagining realities, right? So how are you as a VAD, as StarLink, reimagining security?
I think I've just answered that in the last few questions, to be honest.
So one liner.
So, look, the way that we reimagine, well, the first thing I'll tell you is that for us, it's no longer just about security. So StarLink is reimagining the future of true value-added distribution by applying our business model and our recipe for success across next-generation technology. And that's why security is definitely our foundation, but now as we move into the future, it's really adding building blocks on top of this foundation, such as SDDC, such as OT, operational technology, SCADA, ICS, which is really a big domain, especially in this part of the world. And you'll start seeing very soon, I can't disclose vendor name until Tuesday, you'll see a press release come out on Tuesday, where we've launched our first vendor that is solely focused on cybersecurity for the OT space. Also, as I'm sure you saw in the media recently, the recent onboarding of Citrix, again, is a new approach towards building on that foundation of security and looking beyond overall from an IT operations perspective. So I think the way that we are reimagining our future is, and aligning with the GITEX theme, is by really looking at what we built very strongly in our kind of foundation days, now to look to the future as beyond imagination to the future. And actually our theme for this year, for 2017 and beyond, actually it's a 2018 theme that we launched at GITEX, is accelerate. And so we've activated, we've built, and now it's time to accelerate. And so the acceleration will be in this reimagined way, so that we build up on top of our security success so far.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Avinash. We wish you all the best for the 5 days.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.